Hi, my name is Faith, and this is Joe over to my left, and my mom, Ellie, over to my right. Today we will be discussing some of the things that are going on in the world and bringing to everybody's awareness a little bit of what's going on energetically, what we are seeing now, and what I have come to the awareness needs to be brought to everybody's awareness. I'm like screwed.
It's fine.
It was fine.
It's easy for you guys to shake.
Anyways, yeah. So she just wants to give people an infomercial, basically. It can be an infomercial, just to give people insight and understanding as to why certain things are happening, why they're going to be feeling a certain way, and why they should not be fearful.
Perfect. One of the things that came to me last night while I was meditating was trust. Trust yourself. Trust the information that comes to you spiritually or through prayer or whatever way you go about centering yourself with spirit or Christ or God or however you
Whatever your beliefs are.
That way, when certain things happen, you've already had your answer. You already know what your stand is, and you stay centered in that way. Like myself, I had to trust my intuition when I was given these messages, these thoughts, these ideas to bring forth for everyone, and not clam up and be like, oh no, maybe I'm hearing this wrong. Maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. No, we are all being brought to the forefront to come together and become the promised land, the beings we were always meant to be. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm gonna read 2 pages I looked at when thinking about, well, what can I talk about? I popped out Louise Hay's 101 Power Thoughts. Let's see if we can. Ooh, here we go. I don't know how to do that.
You just hold it up, try not to.
No. That helped. I go like this.
Mm-hmm.
101 Power Thoughts by Louise Hay. I just flipped pages just to see what would pop out. I forgive others, and I now create my life in a way I want it to be. How important is that right now? A lot of stuff is going on where we want to put the blame on someone else instead of taking our own, what is the word? Ownership. Stand up and be like, own our shit, so to speak, own our shit. And that is something we've got to work on as not only individuals, but as a collective, as a society, as people. And in doing so, that allows us to bring in the energy, bring in the awareness of what it is we really want our lives to be. Be that, like I said again, for ourselves or for our communities, I should say. Because you can't raise a child by yourself. It takes a village, as the saying goes. And it takes the same amount of people, the same amount of courage and power and strength and awareness and forgiveness to move forward and pass all the hurts and the pains and the confusion and frustrations. And I feel that is what we are doing now as a collective. The other page says, I move beyond limited human mind thinking and align myself with the infinite divine mind where all things are possible. For her to put these 2 pages beside each other was amazing. And I love it. Because in one regard, you've got the healing process. And then in the other, you've got the intent and where to go and what the mission is. Or
What you're trying to manifest.
yes. And that's important to align and become aware of, because that gives us a focus. Which brings us to my next thing, my next topic, which is, what is my focus? What is my intent? And how these questions can be used in our everyday lives, such as my tea here. What is my focus and what is my intent? This is to bring me peace of mind, good vibrations, happiness, and relax my being before I go to sleep later. I'm gonna be honest.
And then this girl.
and and it's so good. And by bringing in that awareness into even the making of this tea, that helps to bring forward and manifest greater possibilities. This is aligning myself with my divine will, even in this small aspect. When you go to work the next day, what is my goal? What is my intent? What's my focus? I tell my managers all the time, my focus is not the corporation. My focus is my customers. My goal is to help each and every one of them find healing and live their best life. I put a smile on my face, not because I'm going to work, no, because I'm excited to see and help people every day. And to put a smile on their faces, especially during such trying times. That is the time where kindness, love, compassion, forgiveness is much needed. That's where we take a step back from our selfishness and focus on each other. And the best way to do so is to focus on ourselves. Well, what really makes me happy? Is it really, I'm gonna say it, listening to, what's her name? Cardi B's WAP and twerking? Or is it a music that makes my heart laugh, my heart soar, and makes me want to dance, but also... So my phone filled up with storage, so we had to change real quick. But we were just talking about how I use Cardi B's song WAP as a reference to what brings me joy. Does that really bring me joy? You know, twerking. There's nothing wrong with twerking, don't get me wrong, it's fun. But does it bring me joy listening to that music, which only actually deals with the lower chakras, or does a song that also has like a great meaning and makes my heart soar with happiness and joy and laughter, doesn't that do more for me? Brings in more energy and actually makes me feel really great throughout my day just because I listened to that one song once. Another example would be what? What do you have?
Of a good song?
Not of something that brings you joy.
Something that brings you joy.
Oh.
That you can use instead of something that maybe is good for just the moment, you know?
Well, I think, okay, so I was just talking to someone recently who was remembering a good memory from the past, and that brought them a lot of joy, but they couldn't understand it was because it was with somebody that they weren't with anymore.
That's true.
But, so, you know, in talking to him, explain that that's okay. That's okay. That's okay, because the idea, the whole reason for that thought coming was because it was a time in your life that you felt happy, you felt at peace, you felt at joy. So why not enjoy what that is? And why not think about it? Why not? That doesn't mean that you need to necessarily get back with that person or that you need to go back to doing that thing. It was just something about that moment that was fulfilling in your life, and right now we're looking at it's important to keep your vibrations up. It's important to stay positive. It's important to keep imagining, visualizing what it is that you want to see happen that is good, not just for yourself, but for all those that you love, and even for
those you hate, or you think you well,
even those that
feel
you
you
don't have a
resonate
good
with.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, all we care about really is that we get along. We love each other. That we move past the
hurt, the confusion, the pain, the frustration, right?
The misunderstandings.
Yeah.
That we just be able to move past the disagreements wherever we just don't, you don't have to necessarily believe someone else in order for you to still get along with them. People
you don't have to be friends either.
Yeah, you don't have to be friends, but you can still be respectful
and honor them as a human being. And that's very important. When we see each other as aspects of each other, doesn't that bring you more into awareness of maybe I should treat this person with respect? Wouldn't that be respecting myself, to respect this other human being? That doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they do, say, act.
And you don't have to be bosom buddies.
No. And the best thing you could do is not judge them. Because I've learned the hard way, and through watching, judgment only can hurt yourself, really. You judging someone else is you judging yourself more so. And in doing so, that belittles you. And we've got to move away from that. It's time we drop those by the wayside, because they do not serve us in the highest good. All right.
So if we could just recap just a little bit. So the first thing you brought up was about trust.
Yes, trust. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust what your heart tells you is the best for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And trust is
Trust the divine plan. In every
That's
religion, there's a divine plan. And in that divine plan, those who are the children of Christ, or who follow this divine plan, follow the works of Buddha, Krishna, whatever your religion is, it brings you closer to oneness, to God, to the heavens, however you believe. And if you think about it, all of these religions are pointing to one thing. We are all God's children. We are all made in the likeness of God. We were given God-given talents, gifts. And the way we use those, the way we really integrate those into our lives, is by coming into our heart space. Because that, well, it's the best place to move from, first off. I mean, when you are in your heart space, you feel the most. You feel the most joy. You feel the most love. You do feel the most sorrow. You do feel the most pain. But in feeling those, we are able to digest them differently than if we feel them from a place of hurt. We're able to feel those, understand them, and accept that, man, this hurts now, but I know I'll be stronger after. Did it hurt me to the point of death? I'm still alive. I'm still moving around. Okay, I'm good. I'm gonna be okay. At the end of the day, I'll get through this. And that's important. Next, I pointed out Louise Hay's book. I
on
read 2 pages.
101 Power Thoughts, and And that's so important that we change our thought patterns.
Actually, it's 365 daily affirmations.
Holy snap cracks. My apologies, peeps.
Okay, an affirmation for each day of the year. And this is important because we've been bombarded all most of our lives with thoughts of what other people think we should be or how we're supposed to act. And it takes us becoming adults to realize that we have to have, our own thoughts, our own opinions, and that those are okay. It's okay to have those things. So part of what we need is to be okay with having our own.
Give us a second.
Sorry. Part of what we need is for us to be okay with having our own thoughts and knowing that they are important. They're an important part of who we are, and to rewrite all the negative thoughts that we've grown up with. So, what's that called again?
Power thoughts.
365 daily affirmations.
And so one of the affirmations she read was about forgiveness.
Yeah, I'll read it again because I barely remember the words myself, but I just love it, the vibration really stays with you. I forgive others, and I now create my life in a way I want it to be. How important is that? I mean, we're going around, we're working these jobs. They're jobs, they're not careers. Is that always what you want to do for the rest of your life? Does that make you the happiest you can be? Does that allow you to have time to be with your family? Also, make sure the food you're putting on the table is the healthiest and the highest vibration and brings the most nutrition to you and your loved ones' lives. Does a job, does a career really allow you to do so? Does working 40 to 80 hours a week really allow you to do so? No, it doesn't. Why are we doing this? Why are we pushing ourselves so hard for something that, honestly, it should come naturally, shouldn't it? If we were to ask God, what is the best way for me to live? Is the way I'm living right now the best way? Is it the way that brings me closer to you, closer to self, and allows me to experience all your wonders? Is this the best way?
Well, that's what forgiveness is.
I would say no. And when you come to that answer, well, you get a little pissed off. And you get frustrated. And you get angry. And you're wondering, why is this happening? And yeah, that's where forgiveness comes in. It really helps you to be like, okay, I'm sorry. I do love myself. I want to love myself more. How can I do that? Well, the first step would definitely be forgiveness. Yeah. Okay, the other page was, I move beyond limited human mind thinking and align myself with the infinite divine mind, where all things are possible.
The infinite divine mind says all things are possible. So, that says a lot to me. So, it's possible that I can live in a world where I am happy, where I am doing what I enjoy, where people are getting along respectfully, where even if they argue, they still are okay.
Yeah, it doesn't end in violence. It ends in, well, maybe we need to get a third person in on this and get somebody to mitigate what's going on here. Or get a third perspective.
Yeah. Or how about we just say we disagree and move on.
And that's important, to come to that realization that what we're seeing right now, what we are feeling right now, It doesn't always have to be this way. We have the power. We have the will, the strength to change it faster than the flip of a switch. All we've got to do is say to ourselves, I want this to change. I want this to change for the betterment of every human being on earth. I want us to live our best lives. I want us to become one again. That doesn't mean like we merge, we're one being, blah, blah, blah. No. That means we understand and overstand that we all want the same thing.
Yeah. And it literally starts with us. It has to start with us. Be the change you want someone else to be. We hear it all the time. Be the change you want someone else to be. So if you're sitting there and you're criticizing or judging someone else and saying, "Oh, why aren't they, why don't they care? Or why don't they do something different?" Well, you make sure that you care. You make sure that you're doing something different. You take that step and do something. It could be as small as smiling at someone, giving someone a hug, or
Complimenting them.
I guess.
And to go along with that, the whole issue of race that came up this year and was blown wildly out of proportion. If you feel like someone is being racist towards you, you don't actually have to acknowledge it. You don't have to accept it into your reality. You don't have to do that. You don't have to sit there and say, well, I'm a victim because someone made a racist remark to me. No. If they want to be racist and judgmental, that's their choice. You don't have to engage in that. When you sit there and say you are a victim, you are allowing other people to control the way you think and how you feel and basically how you live your life.
You're giving your power away. You're giving away your energy. You are saying to another entity, you have control over my emotions. You have control over how I live my life. And that can go very deep. That can go very long stretched, such as what we're seeing in society now. We've given our control to governments. I could have sworn we were supposed to control the government, not the other way around. The government's been telling us how to live our lives. Stay indoors. Wear a mask. I'm gonna say it. Wear a mask. Okay? Government said it.
It's funny because suddenly we all forget how our immune system works, how germs work, how eating, how actually being healthy works. Because wearing a mask and distancing yourself from other people is not how you boost your immune system and live a healthy life. If you want to be healthy and safe, take your vitamins and minerals, drink less alcohol, smoke less, get out in nature, drink more water, use your head.
It's something we've been talking to ourselves, we talk to each other about, and we talk to our customers or friends at work about. And while it's a hard conversation to have, it's one that needs to be had. Because, well, how did our ancestors do this? How did our grandparents do this? How did they live their lives? How many of you can go ask your grandparents, hey, well, how did you live? Did you buy a lot of groceries at the grocery store? Or did you have a farm? Or did you have like a little garden? Or, well, how did your parents live? And they'll be able to tell you, well, it was a lot different.
Yeah, they did it themselves.
While a lot of this stuff is, good and dandy, it's also a way we're giving our power away. Because we're
a lot of this stuff being the foods we have, the fast food restaurants, even the fine dining restaurants, the grocery stores, we have been trained to be dependent on outside sources for our needs.
And it's sad because we don't even know what our bodies need anymore. You know, we, instead of when that cold comes on, or where you start feeling a cough or you start feeling achy,
the first thing
you're thinking of is, oh, let me go get some medicine,
or let me go to the doctor.
Instead of asking yourself, well, how did I get to this point? You know, what happened, or what did I do? Was it because of lack of sleep? Was it because
I was working too hard?
I just pulled a 10-hour shift.
Yes.
Did I forget to eat? Have I
Yes.
drank enough water
Has
today?
the weather
Exactly.
shifted really rapidly lately?
Where's my mental game? You know,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things play into why our bodies react the way they do. Our bodies are like our thermometers. They're letting us know if we're doing too much or if we're not doing enough. And they react to that. So nutrition plays a huge part of it. But how many of us know what our bodies are telling us anymore? How many of us are even aware of it? And this is what we've got to get back in sync with. This is how we take our power back, by knowing ourselves, knowing how our bodies work, how they function. Even when in actuality, we're at the place now in our lives or in society, the world in a whole, we are dependent on every single institution that makes up our world. And I'm talking financial, I'm talking educational, spiritual. We're talking government. And
Basic
we're talking
needs.
cultural as well.
Agricultural.
You know, all of these, we've given our power away, and it's time that we take it back. And how do you take it back? We take it back by educating ourselves, by not just taking the word of some so-called expert,
but making ourselves an expert too.
Thank you.
Because at the end of the day,
we're our
you
own
can
expert.
do the same studies, the same research that expert did, and come to the same conclusion.
Or another conclusion, because you've done it yourself and nobody is writing out something differently. You have the test right in front of you. Isn't that better than somebody else doing it? Oh, it takes time. Ha! So does, changing your life for the better. It's going to take a little time, but in the end, that's going to be no time at all when you're living your best life.
Mm-hmm.
When you are able to do all the things you've always wanted to do.
I think that's why this talk is important, is because it really is trying to remind us again of why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Why we're here, why we chose to come to this planet at this time. That we're not just here to just be a body, to be a dead weight. That we're literally here to experience life on Earth, to appreciate Mother Earth, to bring love, to bring joy, to bring everything that we've experienced before we were born here.
Mm-hmm. To learn.
It's
Yeah.
It's a learning planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a learning planet that unfortunately was hijacked, but hijacked does not mean that we don't have control or that we don't have power. We do. The fastest we remember why we're here and our purpose, the quicker we take power back. And we're doing that now. That's why things are progressing like they are. Don't feel nervous about the changes that's coming. We asked for it. We asked for these changes. We begged, we pleaded, we prayed. And this is where trust comes back in.
Mm-hmm.
We begged, we pleaded, we prayed. We asked God, please intervene. Make changes. And it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it may not be happening the way we want it. But
It's
as the
happening
saying goes,
in a way that is better for everybody involved.
Yeah, like Do you want it to happen your way or a way that benefits everyone?
Because,
Which is the divine way.
Exactly.
The divine way benefits everyone.
Everybody. Because nobody likes a dictator to just come in and be like, hey, you can't do such and such anymore. We're going to take such and such away because such and such has happened. Even if the changes they are making is good.
Or
It's
sound
like-
good?
Yeah. It's like, you need to understand why. Everybody wants to understand why. Nobody likes being told what to do. Nobody likes to be told what's better for them.
That's because God created us with the ability to self-govern. That's why that's a foreign thing. To have someone outside of yourself telling you that this is how you're supposed to be. That's not how we were created. We were created to be self-governing.
Now, that probably sounds a bit scary to some people. I have to take care of myself. I have to be my own king and queen.
But it's like,
I've got to rule my own world.
why is
Oh
that
my
so
God.
difficult to understand? Because literally at the end of the day, when you come home and you are like hungry or whatever, who's responsible for you? Especially once you become an adult. Who's responsible for you? You are. Who's going to pay your bills? You are. Who's going to feed you? You are. Who's putting clothes on you? Who's driving you to work? Who's doing all this stuff to keep you alive and happy and maintained? You are.
You are. Unless, of course, you're a child, where
Right?
that's a whole other
Another
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But even a child is very much responsible for how they think as well. And our job as parents is to help them to develop critical thinking skills.
And I mean, all of this really culminates, and I really feel we've hit the topic of why are people afraid to learn about themselves? Why? Isn't it not more frightening not knowing about yourself? Not learning about yourself? Not learning what it is I've gone through life and why and how has it helped me get to this point and where it is I'm going? I feel like that makes me more safe. That makes me more comfortable. That actually gives me a path and lets me know, hey, pat on the back, you're doing great. You're doing everything you said you were gonna push towards. It may not look the way you thought it would, but you're doing it. That's awesome. And what has caused us not to want to know about ourselves? What stigmas? What dogmas?
I think it's fear.
Fear?
Yeah, it's fear has been used as a tool to control us, and the fear of not knowing or believing that we don't know. Because in all honesty, we do know. But it's the
other part of it too is fear of the truth. Because it's crazy. So we're taught to fear the truth because what do we really know about truth? The truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off.
I mean, it was said really well in Rihanna's song there. I love that song.
The truth
Will set you
literally
free.
will set you free, whether it's something you want to hear, something you don't want to hear, whether it's good, whether it's bad. At least you know.
And who's to say what is good and who's to say what is bad is bad?
But this is the thing, though. Once again, you said the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off, and it's something that at least you know. That's the thing. You actually know. It's just that when you hear it, it resonates because you already knew it was true. You understand?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You already knew it was true.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just resonated. It's like, okay, you can't be in denial about it anymore.
And that's
is
so frustrating. That's very... You
But-
get angry.
So we are literally, we have just been repeating the cycle of slavery. The slavery that happened with the black people and all the other people of the world. We experienced the freedom and the education of what was going on, but they just basically manipulated us into becoming slaves all over again.
Yeah.
So then all these people that were convinced that this is the way to live have basically been turned into ignorant folk who are lacking in knowledge of the land they live in.
Yeah, and just how rich and plentiful this land is, and just how easy it is to bring it back to that fruitous. I hope I'm saying that word right. Fruitous.
Abundant? How about
Yeah,
we'll
that
go with
works.
abundant,
I like
right?
that better.
Okay.
A fruitful, abundant world it is.
Prosperous.
It's very simple. It takes us actually going out, being in the dirt, cleaning up our crap, such as plastic and what have you not, and pollution. It's not that hard because there's actually, believe it or not, technologies out there that will do these things, that were created for these purposes, and they've been hidden from us.
And another thing that we've been ignorant about too is if you're living in America, you already live a very privileged life.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to you, you live a privileged life. We've heard so many stories from people that have come from other countries. What would it be, like Argentina or something?
Korea.
Yep, Korea.
Yeah, certain parts of Korea.
Certainly Korea, China,
Yeah.
Spain, all these other countries where the people don't have the rights that we do. They don't have the freedoms that we do. They don't have the constitution that we do. If we were living in China, we probably couldn't be making this video right now, to be honest with you.
Very true.
You don't
That's why
have
you
the
don't
freedom to
hear
have
these
whatever
videos.
religion you want. It's picked for you.
And that's why it's so important that we get back focused, because right now the United States, out those very freedoms,
Are being tested and tried right now.
yes they are. And we have to
just step up. We have to step
Yeah.
up as a people. We have to step up, educate ourselves, stop being willfully ignorant, and just realize that, like, you know, you are literally in a time period where you actually have the ability to lose all your rights all over again. It's not just black people, it's everybody. Everybody can lose their rights, minus the 1%.
Yeah. The 1% have already given up their
they have
will
they have
to
given it up
to
haven't
be
they?
free. They are wanting this one structure because they've already given up their freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
They've already
And
said,
they want us
okay,
in their boat,
this is the
and
best.
we don't. Yeah, they want us in
you
their
see how
boat.
weak my hands look?
They want us in their boat. I mean, you're absolutely right. They've given up their freedoms, and they want us in their boat, in their shoes, compromised,
Unhappy.
a slave
because
to
truly they're
finances, a
unhappy.
slave to
Traumatized.
drama,
A slave to money.
Yeah. And I don't call the 1% those people that have worked hard for their money, have done have like really pushed themselves and, you know, made sure to take care of their families and their structures. That's not the 1%. Those people are also helping out their communities. The 1% is the one that's greedy, just taking. I'm talking taking from our labor. We don't work the hours we should for the money we get. The money we get for the hours we work is pennies to these people. Not even pennies, it's fractals of pennies.
Yeah, but they took all those fractals of pennies, put them together, and it becomes billions of dollars that they've wasted.
Yes, it's a
That they waste on them.
And
We're clueless as to where our money goes as a society, especially Americans. We fund the entire world. Taxpayers, not corporations, taxpayers.
That means
We fund
Us.
the entire world.
we fund the entire world. We give our money to corporations. Think about this. What stayed open during this whole pandemic? Corporations, not small
The
businesses. A
large
lot of
corporations.
small businesses were suppressed. All of the large corporations kept running as if they were integral
Needed.
parts of society. And yet, We're seeing a decrease in the stock markets and everything, and the monies our country is making. That makes no sense if corporations are actually giving back to our society, to our country. They're not. And that's how you know it. Because if it were reversed, where all corporations were shut down, but only small businesses were allowed to stay open, boy, oh boy, would you be surprised. You'd be very surprised. We would skyrocket because we're taking care of America.
We're taking care.
We're taking care of our communities. We're taking care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is needed most right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the talk was meant to go into
No,
all
it
corporate
wasn't.
stuff and everything, but
Yeah.
this it reminds me it reminds me like when I go into a store and I'm talking about the big corporations and they are asking us for donations. Okay, so on top of the pandemic taking away your ability to take care of your family, these large corporations turn around and they're like, well, we have a
We have a cause we need y'all to give
that
to.
we need you to give to.
So not only do you not have a job, not only are you struggling to put food on the table, we also need you to feed these other people.
Yeah, these other things or these other causes that we, the corporation, could actually give to
Ourselves without taking a penny from y'all.
But they ask all the time, and yet
And you
we
guys,
find in our heart
we
to give.
always find.
We always find in our hearts to give.
Even if it's a penny or two. We're like, yeah, sure, do it.
And you know,
And yet, what do they give back to the communities?
Ask
Do we
those
really?
workers.
Do we really know if they're giving anything to the community?
No.
Because every time you have a whistleblower come out or someone, express or tell how much is actually given, half of it goes into the pockets of the corporations for supposed administration costs. But you already have an administration, your corporation. What more costs do you need in order to distribute money out? So I got to get paid to distribute money or
you get paid
goods
more.
out to other people who are in need. It makes no sense.
No.
But yet we've sat here and we've accepted and told ourselves that that's just how it is, and it really isn't. It's how it is because we allow it.
Yeah.
So we've got to take our power back.
And I just want to add to that. The same way we don't feel comfortable giving money to a homeless person because we don't know what they're going to do with it, whether they're going to buy booze or not. That's exactly how you should feel about paying your taxes.
Paying your taxes, paying corporations, giving our money to these entities that aren't actually located or founded here in America.
Ooh,
That's
another
a
truth.
huge thing right there.
Yeah.
If you think about most of the products you grab
Mhm.
out of the store, it's not made here,
Mm.
which means there's less money coming back to this country.
So
We're gonna
the
move
main
on.
purpose of this conversation was to just kind of talk about what's happening on the 21st.
Yes.
It
We
was
were getting
building
there.
up to that, right?
We were
Yeah,
getting there.
It's building up to that.
On the 21st
It's the solstice.
is the winter solstice. It is also the conjunction of two great planets in our solar systems, Saturn and Jupiter. They will be aligning and actually going to look like one planet or one
Big
star in our skies. And it's going to actually be the same star that was seen on the day Christ was born. Also,
Called
if-
the North Star, right?
also called the North Star. Yeah, that's not what I was going to say,
No.
though.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was actually going to say, if you know anything about Krishna, I believe he was also born under that same star. What was it? 600 something years before Christ.
Mm-hmm.
This is a event that takes place every several hundred years or so to bring in more consciousness, more divine light, more divine being. Bring us more into alignment with our Godhood. which is very important, and I want everybody to be as prepared as possible. One of the ways you can be prepared is to drink more water. Start cutting out all those little things, such as sugar, such as too many carbohydrates, too much processed food. Maybe eat some more veggies.
Well,
Yeah.
so carbs. It's a tricky word to use because carbs aren't actually a bad thing.
That's why I say carbohydrates, as in those processed foods.
Okay, so processed
make
foods.
sure.
Let's say processed foods.
Processed foods.
And it's interesting because I've heard some people say like they don't have the desire for the same type of foods that they were eating before. So I really our bodies are kind of like leading us towards that.
Which is
They're
true.
helping us to line up for this time. You'll find out that things you enjoyed before you don't seem to enjoy anymore. Like you've lost the flavor for certain things. Even television. It's not. It's boring now.
It is crazy
Who's
hilarious.
interested in watching reality TV as much anymore?
Yeah.
No, people are thirsting for knowledge and they want to hear things
They
that
want
are
to
going
know
to
what's
uplift
really
their
going on.
souls. Yeah.
They want to actually become empowered. And I'm seeing this every day. I go to work, I have so much fun talking to someone who's just like, yes, I've heard of that. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you brought this to my awareness. Such as I have a lot of people come in with toothaches. They're like, where can I find Orogel? I'll show them where it is, but then I will also tell them the benefits of clove oil. Clove oil, or taking cloves, boiling them in hot water, and using that tincture, that water, to clear out infection, numb the pain, all of it. I have so much
How much
fun.
more beneficial that is.
And cheaper. So much
Very
cheaper.
much cheaper. Yes. a
And
lot
it's
cheaper.
natural remedy. It's amazing.
And you
and
can
they
cook
go
with it.
Yeah.
Multiple
It tastes
uses.
You also don't have to worry about any really bad side effects. I mean,
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
do use too much,
The worst that will happen is your skin will start peeling inside your mouth. That's
but
it.
yeah,
But your body naturally heals itself, so the skin will peel off, your body
And-
will heal, and you're still good.
Yeah. And I mean, it clears out infections so much faster. It helps to heal wounds, especially inside the mouth, very easily. And it's great for digestion if you're drinking the right amount. I've got all kinds of fun remedies that I will probably do other videos on at later times.
Mm-hmm.
Solstice.
so what happens when Saturn and Jupiter conjunct?
Well, I believe that the chakras are going to be more in alignment. Two specific ones to bring to awareness. So we all know of the 7 chakra systems. We have the ones that are inside the bodies leading up to our crown chakra. I'm not really going to touch base on these because you can totally look these up very easily by putting in 7 chakra system, and it will come up and you'll be given all kinds of information about these energy systems within the body that when they're in alignment, we actually start to become more divinely aware of ourselves and we live our best life. The ones I'm talking about actually sit higher up. They're a couple of feet, I believe, above our heads. And one is the galactic male and the galactic female. Those two energy systems, those two energy portals, chakras, those two, I believe, are going to come into alignment and meet and be one on this solstice. And the reason why is because those two planets hold certain energies that when they come together, we will also feel them because we are actually divinely connected to the planets due to astrology. Where the planets lined up in our when we were born is what we actually experience throughout life and also help to guide us and
It's part of our learning process. It's part of the lessons that we wanted to hone in and learn while we were here on Earth. And everybody has a different lesson plan.
yes. And it's amazing to learn about those lesson plans. Like I said, why be afraid when knowing is so much funner? So much more fun. So
Funner.
I like that word so much. So. It's so much more fun. It brings you into awareness of what you could go through, how to deal with it, and it brings into awareness where you're going. And I believe everybody's chart will point to them becoming their best self, living their best life. I keep bringing that up because I see every being on earth living in divine alignment with nature, with each other, and with the heavens. I see each of us with a smile on our face more so than not, laughing, dancing, singing, praising, and working in a way that brings us closer together, helps each other, and doesn't feel like work. It's not work anymore. It's us taking care of our planet, taking care of each other, and doing what we love. Because the best kind of work is the kind of work that keeps you sustained, keeps you wanting to keep doing so. Which is what is missing a lot of times in corporations. It can be seen very easily in the look you get from a worker there, and the energy you feel. I've heard it a lot at I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tired too.
Yeah. So is there anything that we should be looking out for on a grand scale on the 21st in regards to this energy that's going to be coming when the planets align?
Yeah, you have the potential to see the Christed star in the sky, actually. There are talks of other things happening, such as, actually, we're not going to get into those, because we're going to take it slow. This is just you becoming aware that there's some amazing things that can happen.
Are you kidding me right now?
Okay, well, what do you think could happen that day?
No, Laura Walker talked about it in her video, bro. I thought she was going to talk about that.
Wait,
Be like,
bring it up.
y'all prepare because, with the shift that's happening and the energy's moving into a more positive thing, a lot of darkness is coming to light because of what's happening and stuff, and something Mahavidyas and whatever, and chaos could be, not so much a lot of chaos, but there could be some violence that outbreaks because people are unhappy with what they're seeing
or hearing,
be it political, with the whole election thing,
and too, people are unhappy, but then there's also a lot of planned violence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's the thing. There's planned violence, but for every planned violence, there is a divine plan to squash it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say that, a lot of people are praying right now, and I want to tell you, God has answered our prayers already. We've been told that we already won this battle. That right now we're just seeing the all earth beings playing out
what could have happened to a degree.
All earth beings are playing out. No, it's literally playing
Not even
out
playing
what's
out
already
what
been
happened. Yeah.
what's
We're
already
just-
been won.
We're just
seeing
finishing it out.
Yeah, we're just seeing the manifestation
Just allowing
of it.
things to be
Yeah.
uncovered and things to come forth and be revealed.
We're seeing the manifestation of it, but we've
Okay.
already won this. That's
I'm
what I
just
mean by that.
Speaking it differently. That's all. But was that in today's Laura Walker talk?
We didn't listen, remember?
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't. You said you didn't want to listen to. You talking about this morning?
Yes.
Well, hasn't she been talking about it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To some degrees. And each day, you've got to look up Laura Walker if you are into astrology
Oracle
or
report.
wanting to learn more about
I
astrology.
would, yeah. And I want to say something about astrology. Astrology is not. We got to understand that everything in the universe was made for good. everything was made to help us to
It was made for our betterment.
to help us to come into awareness. So when we say astrology, we're not looking at astrology in the sense that
Of like, look at your zodiac reading for today.
yes, and follow it. No, it's because we understand all planets are living and sentient beings, and their energies affect everything that happens on our planet. And the more we're aware of it, the easier decisions can be made about what we're doing. The easier it is
to
guideline.
understand
It's-
why you're feeling a certain way. Because we all know that the moon affects the tides. We also know that a full moon can sometimes make people crazy because the energies change to a place where they like heighten or something, and people don't realize it. So it's like they feel differently, and
Right.
everybody enacts on it in a different way.
So when you're not realizing that's what's taking place, your reaction can be like resistant.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a resistant feeling,
Or maybe
whereas
you feel
instead
like
of
frustrated
going,
or antsy.
frustrated or something, instead of going with the flow of it and understanding that it's really here to serve you. It's not here to serve against you. It's here to serve you, to help you become a better you. And becoming a better you may mean sometimes you need to look at your emotions and see why you're feeling certain things inside that doesn't feel good, and say, you know what? I don't like feeling this way, and I want to change it, and I'm going to remove it, and I'm,
That might just be, moving out of a situation, or realizing something doesn't serve your best self, your isn't the best for you. That could be even your job.
You keep saying your job. Oh my gosh. It could be
what that's about.
people. Okay, she keeps bringing it up. It
yeah.
could be people you're around. It could be your
Exactly. It
environment.
could be your. So I
your
bring up the work
living
environment because
situation.
that's something everybody has.
But we
For
all
the
have
most-
people
Well, some
over
people,
around.
yeah, but some people
part-
enjoy their jobs. I like
And-
my job.
which is great, and that's awesome, and I'm happy for those people, and that includes me. But the reason why I bring that up is because at our jobs, most of the time that's the place where we encounter a lot of different energies.
Yeah.
And when we don't like an energy, do we sit there and we just, allow it in our space, or do we say, I'm gonna actually go over here and
right.
exit stage left and go and do something else instead over here? That's why I bring it up. We have that opportunity every single day to move from what does not serve us. We've just got to make that choice and overstand and understand, I've got this power. And I think this all brings us to my last and final point. Be prepared for anything. We've heard talk, we've heard chatter from military, from spirit, from our government, that, things could get a little crazy.
So you should be prepared.
Be prepared for the best and the worst. For the worst would mean make sure you have food, water for all of your family members in your household to last max, I would believe, a month.
Yeah, a month.
Minimum 2 weeks.
Batteries, candles, matches,
Canned goods.
first aid.
Canned
Please
goods.
get some food.
First aid.
I'm sure you got plenty of toilet paper.
Yeah. After the first situation, I think we all learned our lesson.
I think everybody
there.
got toilet paper.
Right?
I think that's now like
But
the
get the
funniest joke
food.
now.
Get the food.
Mhm.
Get
the
the
food and the water. Get
You
you your
might gotta-
vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
If you've got
Listen,
prescriptions,
yeah.
make sure you've got your backup prescription already ready to go. We've got to.
Well, no, because you gotta be careful with that one, because when it comes to prescriptions, some people are only allowed a certain amount during a certain time because of insurance. So, backup prescriptions would be vitamin C, zinc, elderberry,
Colloidal silver,
colloidal silver.
colloidal copper,
Yes, colloidal copper is another
chlorella,
good one.
spirulina.
those are your backups.
We'll
It's
talk more about
important.
those too.
It's important to have those on hand, so that if you need to feel better or you
Boost your
feel like
body.
keep your immune system boosted up. There is even talk of there was talk of them possibly putting out a more deadlier virus. However, that is not allowed. We're not in that dispensation where there's going to be a large loss of life. That's not going to happen.
Because it doesn't serve everyone's best and
It does
highest good.
not.
I mean,
We're not in that dispensation anymore.
Yeah.
That
Think
was
about it.
past,
Yeah.
you've
That
seen a
timeline's
whole bunch of
over.
people dying. What does that do to you mentally, emotionally, and physically? That's draining all the way around.
Well, but not even that. It's just the simple fact of free will. You know, you can't just go around killing off mass groups of people. That's not how it works, and that's not how it will ever work.
That's not how the law of the universe works either.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So all that stuff,
Ooh.
luckily, is coming to an end, which is awesome. And we're so glad that we could have this lovely, long conversation with everybody.
Always longer than we want, but what is needed is needed. We're going to end it here, and we hope and pray and guide Spirit to bring everyone into their best and greatest potential.
Oh, yes. Crystals. Crystals are a great way of keeping grounded. Get some crystals.
We'll talk more on this another time.
It's been like that. I just put it on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Namaste.